Hello all. I myself P. Divya, working as Assistant Professor in EC Department, GRIET. Today I wanted to explain you regarding the introduction to digital signal processing. Before going into the introduction, you need to know about what is a signal, what is a digital signal, and what is the processing is being carried out on this digital signal. So the entire session is being divided into different contents. The contents are in the form of a questionnaires, and the session will give you the answers for the questions which I have given scheduled in this contents. Here are the contents. As I said, we need to know about what is a signal and what are the different types of signals. In it we are going to discuss about what digital signal and what is digital signal processing. That is the main topic of our session. And what are the major building blocks which are available in the digital signal processing system, and what are the major features of digital signal process. Before going into it, we need to first start about a basic fundamental concept of what is a signal. We already know, we have already seen, as we are a technical people, we have gone through this term so many times, but with a simple definition we can say that a signal is a function of an independent variables and it carries some information in it. And what are the different types of signals generally we do have? There are different types of signals like analog signal, discrete signal, and digital signal. Coming to the analog signal, discrete signal and digital signal, we are going to discuss what are the differences between these signals, and we are going to see how they are visually, how they looks like, and what is the signal processing. Before going into the digital signal processing, we are going to discuss about what is the signal processing, why there is a need of signal processing, and how we are going to implement that signal processing on a digital signals. And we are going to discuss about the basic digital signal processing system, what are the building blocks, what are the general components used in it, and major features of programmable digital signal processors. Let us have a look at it. First of all, what is a signal? A signal, as I said, it is a function of independent variables that carry some information in it. As I said, there are different types of signals. One is analog signal, discrete signal, and digital signal. What is an analog signal? I don't want to give a lengthier definition to it. Just keep in your mind, I wanted to say in a single word. Analog signal is nothing but it is a continuous in time as well as continuous in amplitude. What is a discrete signal? Discrete signal is also a form of analog signal, but the time is discretized here, but the amplitude is continuous. Coming to the digital signal, both amplitude as well as time are discretized. I will repeat again, analog signal is a continuous in time, continuous in amplitude. Discrete signal is discretized at time but continuous in amplitude. Digital signal is nothing but it is discretized in both amplitude as well as time. As I said, the analog signal, in analog signal, discrete signal is also one form of analog signal. And I would like to say one statement here that all the continuous time signals are analog signals, but all analog signals are not continuous time signals, because discrete time signal is also a form of analog signal where it is not in a continuous in nature with respect to time. It is discretized. So these are the basic differences between analog, discrete, and digital. And then we'll be going on to a concept of signal processing. We got to know what is a signal now and what are the different types of signals and what is the processing generally we do on a signals. If we do certain processing is nothing but some operations on a signal, either it may be a analog signal or a digital signal. If you are going to do some operations, nothing but some mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, or applying some delay, so sort of operations if you apply on analog signal, that is called analog signal processing. If you apply that on a digital signal, it is called digital signal processing. As the agenda or the session completely deals with the digital signal processing, we majorly focus on digital signal processing. Here it is. This is the major a figure which shows you the entire picture of what does the digital signal processing is. And before going into it, why there is a need of signal processing? Obviously, the answer which we get is, in order to improve the quality of a original signal which we are giving it as an input, in order to improve the quality of our original signal, we are doing some processing on the signal. The processing is nothing but some sort of mathematical operations which are performed on this signals. Here, if you see this figure, there is a person who is talking in a microphone, and obviously the signal which we are talking is an analog signal. It is a continuous signal, and that analog signal is being given to an A to D converter. And what does this A to D converter do? It converts this analog signal, it samples the analog signal and convert into digital form by applying some quantization and coding to the discrete signal, and we'll be getting a digital signal at the output of A to D converter, nothing but analog to digital converter. And that digital signal is given as input to the digital system, which is nothing but a processor. Here, digital signal processor, it does some operations on the signal which is being given as an input. The input to the digital signal processor is a digital signal, and the output is also a digital signal which is being processed. That processed signal is being given to a D2A converter, nothing but digital to analog converter. Since we cannot sense ones and zeros, we can sense only analog signals, because in the real time world all signals are analog signals. Even I'm talking, the speech signal is an analog signal, or seismic signals, or radar signals. All the signals which are available, sonar, everything in the real time world are all analog signals. We can sense only the analog signals, we cannot sense ones and zeros, only computer can sense those. So here the output analog signal which we can hear through the speakers, which is being given in this figure. As here it is being clearly figured out that analog signals looks like this. It is continuous in time as well as in amplitude, and it is converted into a digital forms of zeros and ones, and then it is again converted into an analog form, which is a digital to analog conversion is being done. Then the signal will looks like a staircase signal, and we'll be getting that as a outlet. If you wanted to listen any music, if you wanted to do mix 2 or 3 signals, if you wanted to send one signal, if you wanted to send another signal, and if you wanted to add or mix those signals, and you wanted to listen at the output, that is also one sort of processing. And what are the major advantages of digital signal processing when compared to analog signal processing? Because as I said, if we do a processing on an analog signal, we call it as analog signal processing. If we do a processing on a digital signal, it is a digital signal processing. Coming to the analog signal processing, earlier to the digital signal processing, there is an analog signal processing domain where analog signals have been processed, but the design of hardware or the components used in it are a bit complex, and there are major takeaways, major advantages of digital signal processing over analog signal processing. I wanted to just mention few of the important points in it. It is digital signal processing is immune to the environmental noise as well as some variances or the tolerance which is being obtained from certain sort of components. Nothing but in analog signal processing there are resistors, inductors, capacitors. Because of that, some variance or tolerance is being uttered. That type of errors we cannot observe in digital signal processing. And as I said, it is immune to environmental noise. Nothing but the noise is proportional to the amplitude. If there is an amplitude variation, obviously the noise also increases along with the amplitude. But in case of digital signal, the amplitude is not in continuous in nature, it is of ones and zeros, so there is no impact of noise in it, and it is easily programmable. So that's why we call it as very flexible. Digital signal processors are very flexible. Nothing but if you wanted to do any operations, if you just wanted to do a different operations, you just change the program code in the digital signal processing system. But if you wanted to do the same in analog processing system, you need to change the hardware. You need to implement new components in it. And there is another major important point you need to keep in your mind is digital signal processing system, where a single processor can do a large number of operations. If you wanted to do some processing on even signal, or if you wanted to do some processing on odd signal, if you wanted to combine those even and odd signal, anything, a single processor can be doing it. But in analog processing system, we have to design a specific hardware in order to implement a specific application. That is not the case with the digital signal processing system, as it is as very highly accurate and high speed. Highly accurate in the sense, even if you increase the word length, even if you increase the number of bits, the accuracy increases. There's and the other important advantage is you can store the data. Digital signals can be stored in magnetic disk or flash, floppy disk. Anyway, you can store for a longer time as one likes. Okay, these are the major takeaways. Easily programmable, immune to noise, and we can do n number of applications. N number of tasks can be done with a single processor. Just programming is different. And only some of the drawbacks which I would like to mention with the digital signal processing is it is somewhat complex. Nothing but here there is an extra blocks called A to D converter and D to A converter added in extra to this processing system. And there is a fixed frequency range. In digital signal processing, we need to deal with only fixed ranges of frequencies. So that is the simple or the drawbacks which are being observed in digital signal processing. But major of the advantages are making more advantages when compared to analog signal processing. That's why we are moving on to this digital signal processing systems. And one of you might ask that why there is a need of processing. Nothing but only in order to improve the quality of an original signal. If you wanted to improve the quality of an original signal, you will be going with signal processing. As I said, signal processing is nothing but addition, multiplication and subtraction, or retaking the previous past signals, nothing but delay. These are the only simple processing techniques that can be applicable on a digital signal. There is no much complex mathematics applied like integration or differentiation on it. Only a simple addition, multiplication and subtraction is being done. And what are the general inbuilt blocks necessary in this digital signal processing system, I will be discussing in the later slides. Let us have a look at the basic DSP system. What does it consist of? It consists of a front, some blocks in it. Nothing but here, whenever if we give an analog signal as an input to this anti-aliasing filter, nothing but it is an analog low pass filter. In addition to this, there is a sample and hold circuit. There is a sample and hold circuit. So this we call it as front end part of a digital signal processing system. What does this anti-aliasing filter do? It will just limit the band of the frequencies. If there is any required frequency with respect to your application, it will allow the frequencies to that band limit, and it will not allow the frequencies higher to prior to that frequencies. The higher frequencies will be eliminated. Nothing but this is a simple low pass filter. It is band limited, where it will allow the frequencies whatever the limit which you are required. After passing that through an anti-aliasing filter, it will be sent through a sample and hold circuit. Sample and hold circuit is nothing but a simple, it acts as a switch. What does the switch do? It will just sample the input analog signal. It just samples, it applies some sampling on an input analog signal and hold some samples so that it forms into a digital form. Nothing but it acts as a switch. It samples the incoming analog signals and holds some sort of samples up to certain instance of time, and again it releases, sampling and holding. And because as I said, the output of sample and hold circuit will be a discrete signal. What does the discrete signal consist? What does the discrete signal mean? It is discretized in time. It is discretized in time. So if analog signal which we are giving is a, just I would like to draw simply here. If this is the analog signal, and if I would like to convert that to one discrete form once after it is passing through a sample and hold circuit, so it will be like continuous in amplitude itself, but sampled at different time instances, nothing but 0, 2 microseconds, starting from 0 to microseconds, say 4 microseconds, 6 microseconds, 8 microseconds, and so on. This is the discrete signal. This is the output from a sample and hold circuit, and the output of a sample and hold circuit is given as this discrete signal. I'll just mention it as a DIS. Discrete signal is been given as input to A to D converter. What does it do? It converts the analog signal. Nothing but some quantization and encoding will be done. Quantization is nothing but rounding of the values nearby, and what is an applying some codings to it is an encoding. Nothing but we'll be getting the output in a binary format. Binary is nothing but, what is binary? It is nothing but zeros and ones. Binary format. So nothing but it consists of, the output signal consists of only zeros and ones. Okay, so majorly it looks like the higher peak will be 1 and lower value will be 0. In that way we will be getting ones and zeros, and that will be sent to a digital processor. What does the digital processor do? Digital processor will process the signal, some addition, multiplication or subtraction, applying some delay. That processing is being done on a signals, and that output of the signal will be obviously a digital signal. We will be getting a processed digital signal as the output. After we are getting that processed digital signal, we will be again converting into an analog signal, because analog signal we can sense only analog signal, we can't sense zeros and ones. That's why we have to convert it back into an analog signal. So in that duration you will be converting the signal reconstructing that signal back to an analog signal. So that is what the analog signal output. Here the output of digital signal processor, what I said is a digital signal is in the form of staircases. I think you in the earlier slide you have already seen it. It is in the form of staircases, and the abrupt changes in the the abrupt changes in this staircases or the signals will lead to a high frequencies. In order to get rid of this high frequencies, we need to pass it again through a low pass filter, which we call it as a reconstruction filter. And again we will be making that signal come to a low frequencies. So we will be getting a low frequency signal at the output. This is the major building block of a digital signal processing system. And these are the major features of programmable digital signal processing system. What are the major blocks does it consist of? It consists of a multiply and accumulate hardware in it. Nothing but the major operation which is being done in a digital signal processing is addition as well as multiplication. So multiplier and accumulator is the major hardware required in a digital signal processing. So that is the major feature is being required. And what is Harvard architecture? Harvard architecture is nothing but it consists of two memories, programming memory and data memory. What does that programming memory consist of? Programming memory and data memory. What does this programming memory and data memory consist of? Programming memory consists of some instructions in it. Data memory consists of data in it, and both will be simultaneously fed to the processor core. What does this processor core do? It simultaneously takes this instructions as well as data as the input, and that will be pushing out as certain output depending on the application you require. So this programmable instruction as well as data is being fed to the program core through the bus. So let us think these two lines as bus sets. So that will be fed to the instruction processor unit. That is also a major feature of any digital signal processing system. What is zero overhead looping? Nothing but if you wanted to just execute the program in a digital, obviously a program consists of certain loops in it. If you wanted to count the number of loops or decount or count down the loops or the execution of the loops, for it takes zero cycles. It takes zero cycles. That's why we call it as zero overhead looping. Nothing but it does not consume much time for this looping, because loops, if we generally it is an iterative process, it consumes more time. So for that it generally takes zero number of cycles in order to execute this looping systems. That is a major feature. And what is the specialized addressing used in this DSPs? There are two. Generally I would like to mention two. There are so many addressing schemes. Circular addressing. Circular addressing is used in the implementation of digital filters with the delay lines. Digital filters, nothing but I'll just write it in a small abbreviation, digital filters. And now here there is another addressing scheme called bit reversed addressing scheme. This is bit reversed addressing scheme, and this is generally used to implement fast Fourier transforms. We will be discussing about discrete Fourier transform and fast Fourier transforms in coming sessions. So these are the major takeaways of this session. Coming to the summary, we have discussed about what is a signal, what is signal processing, why there is a need of signal processing, what is digital signal processing, what is the major advantages of digital signal processing over analog signal processing, major block diagram, functionality of each and every block, and major features of programmable digital signal processing. I think it is clear, and this is the end of the session. Thank you, and we'll be continuing with the further sessions by explaining the sampling process. We'll be coming up with the sampling process and explanation regarding discrete Fourier transform, fast Fourier transforms. Thank you.